The salty tang of the alien ocean filled the air as Voyd and Jaida traversed the winding, yellow-glowing streets of Starlight Cove. For Voyd, who had visited countless worlds, this thriving seaside town was unique, but almost felt like another vibrant stop in his endless journey. But for Jaida, every shimmering light, every bioluminescent glow, every strange sound was a revelation, a dizzying assault on her familiar senses. The residents of Starlight Cove were a diverse tapestry of humanoid fish, agile octopi, and scuttling crabfolk, going about their daily lives with an easy rhythm. Yet, a collective pause, a flicker of curiosity followed the two newcomers. Their forms were utterly out of place amidst the aquatic akin denizens. It drew stares, unflinching but curious. The silent scrutiny was palpable, a constant pressure that was familiar to both Voyd and Jaida. A subtle shiver traced its way down Jaida's spine. With a nervous laugh that did little to dispel her unease, she reached out, her fingers lightly tapping on Voyd's hand. He responded immediately, his grasp gentle yet firm, a reassuring anchor in the sea of unfamiliarity. They walked in comfortable sync, side by side. Not to sound rude, Jaida began, her voice a little too high, but sea life always gave me the heebie-jeebies. As if on cue, they passed a particularly vivid green crab person, its upright humanoid torso perched atop a set of scuttling crustacean legs. Voyd's easy stride remained unbroken, though. "Hey, it's okay," he replied, a faint smile playing on his lips. "I've seen scarier, to tell you the truth. They seem chill." Just then, a gelatin-akin blobfish-looking market owner with eyes that seemed perpetually surprised waved a friendly, goopy hand in their direction. Jaida, momentarily disarmed by the creature's undeniable charm, couldn't help but wave back. "Well, I guess he's kind of cute," she conceded, a genuine smile replacing her nervous one. Their journey through the bustling marketplace was a whirlwind of new sights and sounds. Before long, their objective loomed in the view. There, standing tall and undeniably rustic, was the tavern they sought. It was a large, cottage-akin building, weathered by unseen elements, dominated by a massive, weather-beaten wooden sign. Perched atop it, just as Freddy had described, was a giant octopus head, its painted eyes comically crossed, its suckered mouth twisted into a crude yet oddly enduring drunken leer. Text in a language neither could hope to decipher adorned the sign, but the cephalopod left no doubt. They had found it. Approaching the sturdy front door, the two were abruptly halted by a hulking silhouette that emerged from the shadows. It was the bouncer, a truly formidable anglerfish-looking being. Its bioluminescent lures pulsed dimly above a massive, underslung jaw filled with jagged, razor-sharp teeth. It glared down at them, a guttural sound rumbling from its throat. It stated, its cryptic tone thick with an unknown accent. Voyd and Jaida exchanged a quick, uncertain glance. Then, Voyd stepped forwards, his voice clear and confident. "Hi. We're here to see Captain Inkblot. Solar Flare Freddy sent us." The anglerfish man paused, the clicking of his large underbite echoing in the sudden silence. Its multifaceted eyes seemed to assess them. Then, with a slow, deliberate sway, it moved aside, pushing the heavy door open. It grunted, gesturing with its head, a clear invitation to enter. "Thank you, sir," Jaida exclaimed, her relief palpable as she and Voyd cautiously stepped over the threshold and into the dim interior of the tavern. The air inside was thick with the scent of fermented alien concoctions and the distant thrum of 100 conversations. The space was cavernous, its wood-paneled walls and ceiling reminiscent of ancient Viking longhouses. A central hearth blazed brightly, casting a warm, flickering light that danced across the rough-hewn wooden floor and walls. Rustic wooden tables and benches, scarred by countless revelries, were scattered throughout the vast room. Alien creatures of every conceivable form congregated, drinking, laughing, and seemingly partying with an unrestrained gusto. Many, judging by their slurred movements and booming voices, were well and truly hammered. Shields of various alien designs were mounted haphazardly along the walls, alongside an assortment of hanging curiosities. Thick wooden beams extended from the ceiling, their intersections creating a geometric pattern, and stray shafts of light filtered through unseen gaps, lending a dramatic, almost theatrical atmosphere to the chaotic scene. Oh, jeez, Voyd muttered, a flicker of unease crossing his face. Jaida, her eyes wide with wonder at the sheer spectacle, turned to him. "What's wrong?" she asked, her voice almost lost beneath the din. "It just reminds me a bit of home, is all," the spark revealed, a ghost of a grimace touching his lips. They began to navigate the packed room, awkwardly weaving between lumbering, boisterous figures. "My mom and dad were... well, to tell you the truth, they could get a bit crazy when it came to liquor. Warrior spirit, you know? The same could also be said for my brother and Sika," Voyd explained, rolling his eyes to the memory. "With every massive spark victory made by the Knights, there would be a grand celebration. Just feels familiar, is all." Jaida nodded, still taking in the wondrous, chaotic scene around them. "You much of a party animal, Novason?" she inquired, a slight grin forming on her face. Voyd's brow furrowed slightly. "No, I prefer calm nights, to be honest." Jaida let out a sarcastic scoff. "You, Blue, just lost a friend point for that one." Voyd raised an eyebrow. "What? Friend point? What, for not liking parties?" Jaida eyed him. "Precisely," she declared, a playful glint in her eyes. Their light-hearted banter was abruptly cut short as the two inadvertently became catalysts for chaos. Moving through the dense crowd, Jaida accidentally bumped into the back of a particularly large, squid-like being. As she passed, the creature spun around, its multifaceted eyes locking onto a larger fish-headed man standing directly behind him. "Urcha Luca!" the squid being roared, misinterpreting the bump and shoving the fishman with surprising force. The fishman, already flushed with the drink, soared back around, splattering his beverage all over the startled squid. In an instant, the minor scuffle escalated. The squid began to retaliate with a flailing tentacle, the fishman countered with a booming punch. Within seconds, what began as a misunderstanding rapidly evolved into a full-blown tavern brawl. "Uh-oh," Voyd huffed, his playful expression vanishing as he pulled Jaida close. "Wait, oh no, what did I do?" Jaida cautiously questioned, her words swallowed by the rising tide of shouts and crashes. Mugs of potent alien alcohol became projectiles, punches were delivered with resounding thuds, and both Voyd and Jaida found themselves trapped in a storm of flailing limbs and enraged roars. "Stay close," Voyd called out, his voice strained as the two began to weave and duck away from the lumbering, hammered figures. Thinking fast, Jaida tapped into her innate ability, warping herself and Voyd in rapid, disorienting blips of energy, barely keeping pace with the escalating brawl. "Inkblot! Does anybody know where Inkblot's at? We were sent by Freddy!" Voyd shouted, his voice hoarse, as he was rapidly warped from side to side like a toy in a child's frantic hand. "Inkblot?" a nearby, unassuming fish being in a surprisingly old-fashioned suit asked, peeking out from behind a sturdy pillar. Voyd and Jaida looked at him, hope flickering in their eyes. "Inkblot!" The fish being gestured upwards, to a flight of wooden stairs, and then towards a large, purple-hued door at its summit. The two nodded their heads, in thanks, but before they could elaborate, the helpful fish being was suddenly grabbed by the neck and unceremoniously suplexed into the ground by another moonman-like being, disappearing beneath a pile of struggling bodies. Go, 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 go! Voyd stuttered, urging Jaida towards the stairs. Together, they scrambled upwards, their hearts pounding as the fight below reached a boiling point. With swift, desperate motion, without even knocking, they burst through the purple door, slamming it shut behind them as a heavy thrown mug of alcohol splintered against the wood with a resounding crack. As their breathing began to steady and their racing hearts subsided, Jaida nudged Voyd, and they both looked at their new surroundings. Towering bookshelves lined the walls, spilling over with scrolls and ancient-looking tomes. Maps unfurled across a vast, sturdy desk, amidst spilled inkpots and scattered parchments. And there, seated at the desk, was a hulking, strangely regal figure, seemingly oblivious to the ruckus that had just transpired outside. He was engrossed, the rhythmic scratch of his quill on paper the only sound in the quiet space. The figure was unlike anything Voyd or Jaida had ever seen. His head, large and bulbous, was a deep, muted purple, adorned with numerous thick tentacles that framed his face and twitched with a disconcerting life of their own. Two huge, luminous yellow eyes, like molten gold, peered out from beneath a gray bandana-styled head covering. He wore a heavy, reddish-maroon jacket, its details resembling worn, ancient leather over dark brownish-tan breeches. A large, ornate belt, studded with countless rivets, clenched his waist. And his wriggly hands were encased in formidable leather and metal gauntlets. His left leg, Voyd noticed, was also a polished wooden peg. The man paused his writing, the quill hovering above the parchment. He looked up, his yellow eyes fixing on the two teenagers. The tentacles on his face rippled, a strange, undulating motion that mirrored his growing irritation.
What in Starnation?
He rumbled, his voice a gravelly baritone.
How and why exactly are there suddenly two children in my office? Every time I settle down, it's something new!
He pushed back from his desk, the chair groaning in protest. As he rose, he revealed a surprisingly rotund frame, making him seem wider than he was tall.
Who are you, and what do you want?
Voyd, still a little breathless, managed to speak, his voice a tad raspy. Are you Captain Inkblot? The large man paused, his tentacles twitching a little faster. He then gave a hesitant nod, his eyes narrowing slightly.
I am. But you still haven't answered me questions. State your business, and quickly.
Steeling themselves, Voyd and Jaida approached the desk. Voyd, though still tired, found a surprising surge of determination. We're here on an important mission, sir. He began, trying to sound as adult as possible. Freddy, Solar Flare Freddy, he's the one who brought us to the tavern tonight. He said that you could help us. Apparently you guys are good friends. At the mention of the name Solar Flare Freddy, Inkblot froze. The gruffness evaporated from his expression as his yellow eyes widened to an almost comical degree. Then, slowly, a wide, almost jovial, happy expression spread across his tentacled face. His tense posture melted, and he sank back into the chair with a heavy sigh that was more contentment than exhaustion.
Frederick! That old stash! Haven't heard from him in ages! Oh, what a character!
Inkblot boomed, a hearty chuckle rumbling from his chest, slapping his knee gleefully.
We had some wild escapades, that one and I. Always full of some grand scheme or another. Usually involving some questionable map and an even more questionable treasure.
He paused, a faraway look in his luminous eyes, lost in fond memories of daring adventures and Freddy's infectious, buoyant energy.
Always knew how to pick good company, that Freddy. If he sent you, then any friend of Freddy's is a friend of mine.
The cephalopod leaned forwards, his early exasperation completely gone, replaced by genuine curiosity.
Now, what exactly do you need me help with?
Jaida, a small, determined smile on her face, stepped forwards. Captain, do you have anything at all, regarding the Dream Realm by chance? She reached out, grasping Voyd's arm and holding it up, drawing Inkblot's attention to the peculiar, ornate gauntlet on Voyd's wrist. Puzzlement furrowed in Inkblot's brow, and his tentacles wriggled in confusion.
The Dream Realm? Why in the cosmic currents would you be asking about that?
Voyd, his gaze fixed on Inkblot, spoke, his voice firm despite his earlier exhaustion. The Red Death has returned, sir. Jaida and I are on a mission to stop him once and for all. We need a conduit, a way to reach the Dream Realm to aid us. Inkblot's boisterous demeanor vanished as swiftly as it had appeared. He froze again, his happy expression dropping, his face a silent mask of bewilderment. His large yellow eyes, however, seemed the scream of a terrible, unspoken past, of memories he wished to keep buried.
You're a spark, correct?
Inkblot then asked, his voice low and grim, studying Voyd intently. Voyd nodded.
Then why are you here by yourself?
Voyd's gaze dropped to the scuffed floorboards. A subtle flinch of his shoulders was enough for Inkblot to piece together the grim truth. The large captain pushed himself up, waddling forwards until his truly gargantuan form loomed beside the two slight figures. He placed a hand surprisingly gentle on Voyd's shoulder then.
I know where to find something. They are called Dream Shards, but they are housed, young spark.
Inkblot said grimly, his gaze shifting to the large, grimy window behind his desk. Beyond it, the vast expanse of the cosmic sea stretched into the twilight.
But it won't be easy to reach them. Far beyond this bay, beyond the cosmic sea itself, lies a terrible place. A branch-off sector from a much larger empire, ruled by beings known as the Wraiths.
He shuddered, a ripple running down his tentacled neck.
Deep within their kingdom's temple, they hoard the Dream Shards, their valuable and rare items within the cosmic realm.
He let out a short, nervous laugh.
My crew and I once tried to find some. Couldn't negotiate properly with the Wraiths, mind you. They're not amiable to pleasantries.
Voyd and Jaida exchanged nervous glances, but their determination remained unwavering. Take us there, sir, Jaida boasted, her voice surprisingly firm. We can handle ourselves. Inkblot nodded, a nervous tremor in his own stance, but he seemed to respect their indomitable spirits. He gave a final, appraising look at the two young adventurers.
What's your names, fellas?
Inkblot questioned. I'm Voyd, and this is Jaida, the spark replied. Inkblot nodded.
Did either of you get seasick?
He then asked, gesturing towards his study window, to where, bobbing gently outside in the bay, lay an old, weathered pirate ship, its sails furled, waiting impatiently for the voyage to come. The boundless canvas of the cosmic sea unfolded with a breathtaking, yet terrifying majesty. A hard splash and the whisper of sails announced Inkblot's determined push through the ethereal expanse. At the helm, the massive cephalopod stood stern and resolute, his gaze fixed on the endless star-dusted waves. The vessel rocked gently, enveloped on all sides by glittering constellations. Upon the deck, Voyd and Jaida stood captivated, their faces illuminated by the otherworldly glow. The initial moments of their seaside venture were punctuated by the captain's booming voice, cutting through the cosmic wind.
So, just to make sure I've got this all down correctly, the Red Death and his crew of glitching goons have returned after years of banishment, eradicated the sparks, and you're apparently the only one left that's trying to stop them?
Voyd confirmed the grim reality with a nod. That's about 1-to-1, sir. Thanks again for helping us out. None of this would have been possible without you, or... His gaze softened as he turned to Jaida, who was mesmerized by the cosmic sea, watching ethereal, alien-looking dolphins arc gracefully along the ship's bow. A small, genuine smile from Jaida cued his completion. Or any of you. Inkblot, ever the valiant captain, declared stoutly.
Aye, lad, when the universe is at stake, old Inkblot is up to the challenge!
A reassuring promise that settled a small part of the immense burden on Voyd's shoulders. Turning back to Jaida, Voyd approached, joining her at the rail. The cosmic expanse seemed to sway emotions in a way that neither had expected. Voyd, I'm sorry if this comes off as weird, but... Jaida began, her voice unusually soft, a new vulnerability in her tone. Thank you for taking me with you. Voyd's brow furrowed slightly in a gentle curiosity. You're welcome? He asked, leaning on the rail, his eyes thoughtful. Jaida giggled, a sound of relief and slight embarrassment. Yeah, sorry. I know that sounds kind of weird in hindsight. Thank you for taking me along this very dangerous and special journey that could fall apart as fast as it starts. Her sarcasm was light, a nervous release as she waved her hands expressively. It's just... You already know. It just feels good doing something that actually makes me feel... important. Her gaze drifted upwards, tracing the vast tapestry of stars. Sometimes, I really do wonder if I'm actually helping my city. I'm doing what I can, but even then, sometimes I start to worry that what I'm doing is just making things worse. The softness in her voice deepened. I tell myself that I'm doing the right thing. I want to believe that, but it's as if the world is constantly telling me no, over and over again. It's draining. Her confession hung in the cosmic air. But going on this adventure with you, it feels as if I'm finally going to do the very thing I've wanted to do from the start. A radiant smile bloomed on her face, her braces flashing in the ambient purple and yellow skylight. I'm actually going to help everyone. I'm going to save the world I love. Voyd listened, his understanding palpable. He nodded silently, then gestured to her with his eyes. Have you ever saved a life? Jaida met his gaze. Yeah. I remember I saved a little girl from falling rubble once. Why? Voyd nodded again, a soft smile playing on his lips as he looked away. Then you've already put those fears aside. Jaida pondered this, a confused expression on her face. Those newspapers, your worst critics, they don't understand you. Whoever that little girl was, she will. Voyd smiled, wider. You gave her the chance to live a full life, to grow old and maybe start a family. If I were to tell you honestly, I think you've already saved multiple worlds. Her world, and the worlds of those who love her. Jaida's confusion melted into a wide smile as they fully turned to face each other. No matter what people say, Just know that somewhere deep down, even the littlest of acts you perform in the name of good have already done more than you could ever imagine. That's what I tried to tell myself, at least. A small blush dusted Jaida's cheeks as she looked to the side, running a hand through her hair. Voyd, I never thought of it like that. A genuine thanks followed, making Voyd snicker playfully. Is that a thank you on top of a thank you? He teased, his tone laced with sarcasm. Oh, shut up! I'm apologetic! Jaida retorted, a light shove landing on his arm. Clearly. The spark replied, gently pushing back, a familiar, playful energy returning to him, a flicker of the carefree child perhaps long buried by the weight of his responsibilities. Suddenly, a soft, gentle tune radiated across the deck as Inkblot activated an old radio by his wheel. The two looked up, and the captain nodded back, a gentle expression on his face. As this music swelled, a spark ignited within Voyd, an idea that felt both ancient and new. Hey, Freckles, he called, making Jaida turn back to him. Would you perhaps care for a dance? He extended a hand, a gesture of unexpected grace. Jaida's eyes widened, her face flushing with shock. A dance? You know how to dance? She stammered, visibly flustered. Yes, dancing was a staple element in my culture. It was our way of having fun and showing gratitude to the ones we care about. Voyd explained, his voice losing its playful edge, becoming earnest. Jaida's hand, hesitant at first, gently slipped into his. I want to express my gratitude for you, if you would allow me to. Jaida's mouth curved into a nervous smirk. Yes! I mean, yeah, sure. But there's just one problem. She admitted, looking embarrassed. I don't know how to dance. Voyd nodded, pulling her gently closer, the music a soft current around them. That's alright. I can show you, he promised, his tone warm and reassuring. They were now standing quite close, and Jaida's hair seemed to bloom with a vibrant orange, mirroring the blush on her cheeks. She nodded again, speechless. Slowly, Voyd interlocked his fingers with hers, extending their arms, his free arm gently wrapping around her waist, the motion making Jaida's face look truly like an orange. Voyd, she stuttered with a flustered tone, but the spark merely smirked. Now, just follow my lead. Like this. He began the move, a gentle, flowing sway from side to side. Jaida, surprisingly agile, matched him easily as they began to spin, tracing slow, graceful circles atop the ship's deck. Jaida's eyes were now wide and sparkling with wonder, reflecting the starlit cosmic sea. Voyd in turn found himself bashfully looking away, a soft laugh escaping him. You have nice eyes, he murmured. Jaida blinked, looking away as well, shy smile gracing her lips. Really? You like my ugly orange eye scars? She couldn't stop smiling. Scars are beautiful. They show us the story of a person's struggle, as well as their triumph. At least that's how I view it. Voyd explained, his voice earnest. Jaida shook her head, still blushing. You are unbearably sweet, you know that. She then giggled, making Voyd chuckle. Just being honest, Woodsy. Would you rather me lie? Jaida shook her head. Oh, stop, she said, as gentle shimmers of purple light began to dance around their feet, unnoticed in their shared moment. Taking a breath, Jaida turned the fully faced Voyd again as they continued their gentle spin. I like your eyes too. Blue's my favorite color, actually. Voyd's smile widened, and now it was his turn to look away, a blush creeping on his cheeks too. Thanks. Mine's green, but I think you're starting to win me over on orange. Jaida giggled once again, a wave of confidence washing over her. She changed maneuvers, wrapping her arms around Voyd's neck, causing him to dip her slightly. I'm not offended. Green's a good color too, she whispered as Voyd fully committed, dipping her lower, as he gazed into her eyes, almost lost in their vibrant hue. He shrugged, playfully. Well, luckily for you, I think I just decided. Green's now a very close second place. His words made Jaida gleeful, a pure, unadulterated joy radiating from her. But then, their attention was drawn to the swirls of energy around them, the faint purple light at their feet. For a moment, they looked visibly confused, pondering its origin. But the question died on their lips as the light intensified, pulsing in sync with their joined heartbeats. A strange resonance forming between them and the cosmic energy itself. Before Jaida and Voyd could question this peculiar phenomenon, the boat suddenly lurched hard, a violent jolt that snapped them from their enchanted dance back to the unpredictable realities of the cosmic sea. Voyd and Jaida were flung from their feet, sprawling in an undignified heap of flailing limbs. They jolted upright, simultaneously, a surge of shock turning swiftly to a sheared grimace of annoyance. What the heck was that? Voyd bellowed, still scrambling for purchase on the now tilting deck, the taste of ozone suddenly sharp on his tongue. He had bit it, and he was bleeding. Did we hit something? Jaida retorted, her voice edged with alarm and slight annoyance from the moment being broken. At the helm, Inkblot had lurched violently with the impact, but his many-tentacled grip on the ship's wheel remained unshakable. His yellow eyes darted wildly, scanning the chaotic seascape. His old radio dissolved into a furious torrent of static. A cold, unsettling chill snaked its way across his squiddy features.
No! Something's hit us!
He roared, his voice a guttural rumble that vibrated through the deck's plates. Then, the world outside began to change. The basic luminescent tides that glowed with a gentle internal light began to shift, a sickly emerald green bleeding into the waves, studded with pinpricks of swirling yellow star particles. It wasn't just a color change. It was a living, pulsing transformation. The ocean itself seemed to awaken, a monstrous entity stirring from a slumber. The waves, once merely rocking the ship, now thrashed with impossible violence, slamming against the hull as if trying to tear it apart. To everyone's horror, a massive volume of newly vibrant, sinister water began to writhe and rise along the vessel's left-hand side. It wasn't a wave. It was a manifestation. The water spiraled upwards, coalescing into a long, impossibly fat pillar, blotting out the very stars with its own. From its immense churning mass, two gargantuan hands of the same emerald energy suddenly unfurled, each palm burning with a single malevolent orange eyeball that glowed with an unholy light. Then, with a sound that ripped through the very fabric of reality, the colossal water's front split open. A gaping, goopy mouth of raw, burning orange energy yawned into existence, releasing a cackle that resonated not just through the air, but directly into their very bones. What is that? Jaida cried, her initial shock now replaced by a fierce determination. Her hands glowed with gathering cosmic energy, ready for battle. Beside her, Voyd's features hardened. He activated his battle mask, the sleek, form-fitting helmet snapping into place, its visor gleaming with power. The beast, impossibly vast, loomed over them, casting the entire ship in its emerald shadow. It was less a creature, and more a living, breathing, natural disaster.
A nebula Leviathan!
Inkblot bellowed, his voice laced with a grim recognition that sent a shiver down Voyd's spine. With a swift, decisive movement, he slammed his hand down on a lever positioned beside the helm. Below the ship's stern, two massive, previously concealed propellers whirred the life, their powerful thrust blasting the vessel forwards with a sudden, bone-jarring acceleration. The beast didn't hesitate. With a guttural roar that made the hull vibrate, the Nebula Leviathan gave chase. The ship became a tiny, frantic minnow pursued by a Leviathan of the deep. The two colossal, eye-emblazoned hands of the monster became relentless instruments of destruction. They smashed their fists down at the evading ship, each blow sending tremors through the water that threatened to capsize them. Between the crushing impacts, the eyes in their palms flared, releasing searing sharp beams of concentrated orange energy that cleaved through the cosmic sea, leaving trails of sizzling vapor in their wake. Near misses were given, the searing heat of the beams burning the air just inches from the deck. Inkblot, a master of his craft, swerved the vessel through the chaos with a terrifying grace. He navigated gushing geysers of water brought forth by the Titan's thrashing attacks, the ship dancing on the very edge of destruction.
Welcome to the cosmic sea, my friends!
The cephalopod bellowed, a wild exhilaration roaring with grim resolve in his eyes as he practically drifted the ship around needle-sharp outcroppings of glowing cosmic rock. Midway through the brutal scuffle, Jet's crisp voice cut through the helmet speaker.
Analysis complete. The eyes within the hands appear to be the primary nexus points for its manifested energy. In easier terms, it's the most vulnerable aspect of the creature.
Voyd didn't need to be told twice. Focusing his anger and desperation on the power, he began to conjure forth a volley of Nova runes, brilliant blues of power that emanated a hopeful light. "I'll take the right hand!" he yelled, throwing the runes with all of his might, striking the burning orange eye with explosive force. Beside him, Jaida had already summoned her weapon, the bow forged of pure cosmic light. With each precise movement, she drew the manifested string, unleashing blasts of crackling starlight manifesting from her essence. "Guess I got the left hand!" she cried, unleashing a rapid succession of bolts that whizzed through the air, impacting the left hand's eye with sharp, precise crackles, eliciting a low growl from the beast. They continued this desperate, synchronized assault, a relentless dance of evasion and attack. Inkblot expertly weaved the ship through the beast's furious assaults, the vessel a blur against the emerald chaos. Another volley of Jaida's blasts, imbued with a powerful surge of her cosmic energy, slammed into the left hand's eye. With a deafening shriek of agony that made the very air vibrate, the hand exploded into 1,000 shimmering star particles, dissolving back into the thrashing sea. The Nebula Leviathan roared, a sound of pure, unadulterated rage that shook the ship to its core. With its remaining hand, fueled by a terrifying desperation, it began to unleash even heavier, more concentrated beams of orange energy. Each one was a devastating blow, designed to obliterate rather than to sting. One beam clipped the ship's stern, sending splintered wood and a plume of superheated steam to the air. Another narrowly missed the bridge, the scorching heat searing Inkblot's cheek. He gruffed in pain, but continued to maintain control. Voyd watched, a cold fury building within him. This creature, this relentless force of nature, had pushed them too far. With a guttural shout, he began to summon every ounce of Nova runic energy he could muster. Brilliant blue magic surged from his hands, swirling around him like a vibrant ethereal ribbon around a ballet dancer, growing in intensity and coalescing into a single, devastating vortex of power. With a final explosive release, he unleashed his concentrated power. The blue magic, now a spear of pure force, tore through the air, striking the monster's remaining eye with the force of a supernova. The impact was cataclysmic. The orange eye shattered, exploding inwards with a grotesque squelch and a blinding flash of shuddering light. The beast stalled, its massive form failing to stand. It gave one last, elongated, mournful roar that slowly faded before its colossal body began to dissolve. The emerald water, the swirling yellow particles, the goopy orange mouth, all of it unraveled, flowing back into the cosmic sea as if it had never been there. It may have been gigantic, but size never meant anything. The sudden silence that descended upon the ship was deafening, broken only by the panting breaths of those atop it, and the gentle lapping of the now normal, glowing cosmic tides against the hull. Inkblot let out a triumphant whoop, his eyes gleaming. Jaida, her cosmic bow dissipating, threw her arms up in jubilation. "We did it! That was easier than I thought! Ha!" She cheered, her voice hoarse but ecstatic. Voyd, however, simply sighed, the tension bleeding from his body. He slumped to one knee, the energy draining from him as he deactivated his mask. His face, streaked with grime and sweat, wore an expression of utter exhaustion. "Well, guess it really is final then. Green is no longer my favorite color," he gruffed, already anticipating the long, bumpy ride ahead. Jaida giggled, shaking his shoulder playfully. The ship might have been bruised, but they had survived once again. Inkblot's ship slowly cut through the ether, but as they neared their destination, the environment shifted dramatically. The vibrant, chaotic spectrum of dark purples and yellows dissolved, consumed by a thick, swirling fog. Through this ethereal veil, the very starlight transformed, resolving into an eerie blend of blue and predominantly muted oranges. Even the waters changed, becoming an uncanny red that slowly unveiled several giant stone statues of cloaked figures submerged in the water. They were nearing land, it would seem. It was at this precise transition that a sudden, visceral reaction seized Jaida. A sharp lurch, a gasp, and a desperate struggle for breath underscored a profound sense of disorientation within her. Voyd was quick to steady her. "Freckles?" he asked. She looked down at her gloved hands, trying to catch her breath, as they continued on through the fog. "Jaida!" Voyd stated, as the angel slowly collected herself. I'm fine. She looked at Voyd, her eyes slightly watering from the jolt that went through her body. Voyd stared back firmly, his gaze concerned. It was that sense again. From last night," she revealed, fully getting back upright from the strain. "What do you mean?" Voyd asked, holding onto her shoulder. Jaida stilled for a moment. I don't know. It was as if a wall of whatever I felt the other night hit me head on," she stated, making Voyd take a nervous breath. Their moment of fear was sharply interrupted by Inkblot, his voice sharp and firm, announcing their arrival.
"Alright, this is as far as I can get you before they take notice."
The ship pulled alongside a desolate linear island, its edges fading into an endless expanse of mist. What little plant life adorned it was not green, but a dim, pulsating orange, as if imbued with a faint, otherworldly luminescence that intensified with their approach.
"Welcome to Wraith territory,"
Inkblot declared, deploying the exit plank.
"I'll be waiting here for your return there now."
He added, as the duo slowly made their way to leave. "There's no need. I can portal us to safety when needed. I don't want you in these seas for much longer, Inkblot. Not after what just happened." The captain nodded, slowly retracting the plank as they made landfall.
"Are you certain? I must warn you. These folk, they aren't exactly the nicest ones around."
Voyd and Jaida held their tongues before the spark spoke again. "We'll be fine, Captain. Thank you for everything." Inkblot nodded, although looking hesitant.
"Of course. Please, be well."
The captain bid his farewell. As he slowly began to leave, Voyd and Jaida watched as he disappeared into the orange mist. As Inkblot's ship disappeared, Voyd and Jaida fully stepped onto the glowing shore. The previous sense of wonder that often accompanied their travel through the cosmic realm had vanished, replaced by a heavy, dull silence. As they cautiously advanced, a curious phenomenon occurred. The luminescent plant life seemed to respond to Jaida's presence, shimmering with the same peculiar orange as her eyes and hair. This immediate, almost symbiotic connection prompted a vital question. Jet, you said my powers originated from this realm, right? Jaida asked, her voice tinged with nervous anticipation. Are these? She asked, leaving Jet to reply moments after.
From my readings, it's an exact match. They share the same energy flowing through you.
The air thickened with growing tension, culminating in a sudden loud crack that splintered the silence, sending Jaida lunging in the Void's arm with a little shout. To this, the spark instinctively summoned an Overrune, ready to strike what could have been near. But instead of an attack, a familiar laugh and voice boomed from a nearby tree.
Hello, my friendies. How has the land of stars been? I see you've met the silly cheese man and his homies, yes.
Looking up, they saw him. Meowkery, back on another tree and laying on his belly, kicking his hind legs and holding his head up with his front paws. The duo stared, uneasy. Meowkery? Voyd asked, watching as the cat rolled on his back and laid upside down, looking like a towel on a rack.
It's me! I see you have found yourselves in a very nasty spot. Nasty!
The cat boomed as his eyes spun around in his skull.
But you're both determined to find your way to the silly dream worldy. I respect thee.
Jaida suddenly boasted aloud, visibly uncomfortable. You! How did you know my name? It was straight to the point, firm and serious. Meowkery's smile, however, never faded.
Because I know lots of thingies. Your namey, Void's namey. I am just a silly meow, silly gifts.
Jaida looked more irritated now. Okay, but what was with that creepy-ass question then? When's the last time I've... Jaida suddenly paused. That feeling. That calling. It returned, making her uneasy.
What questiony? The one I ask ye? Or the one you know the answer to? Therefore not making it a questiony.
Voyd stepped forwards, having enough of the cat's cryptic words. Alright, shut up. Why are you here? Voyd asked as Meowkery slowly descended from the tree, standing on all fours once again.
Why, I'm just here to warn you, my friendies.
The cat boasted.
The homie was correct. This is a very dangerous placey. The nasty squiddy people are not friendly. Take this as your final warning-y.
Meowkery stated as he sat in front of their path. The cat's eyes, they were so unnerving to Voyd and Jaida. He played everything off as a joke in tone, but they could tell he knew more than he let on. It was clear he wasn't a threat, but that didn't change how uneasy he made them feel. Voyd took a breath, gesturing for the cat to move along.
Very welly. Please.
Please. Be careful. With that, the cat slowly faded, becoming one with the fog. As Meowkery vanished, the mist itself seemed to part, revealing a sight both majestic and terrifying. Stretching within the ocean, a colossal island emerged from the vapor, a vast plain miles wide. Upon it stood an isolated kingdom, tall, tangy, cream-colored towers capped with mushroom-shaped tops, sharp, angular buildings, and embers of raw orange energy coursing through the very structures. And what had to be the center of this location was a giant gargantuan tower designed with more of those hooded figure statues holding it up. Behind all of this was a star of some kind in the sky, a sun so big it dwarfed the entirety of the backdrop to the city. But in front of it was a moon, creating a large solar eclipse effect. This was it, they thought, the heart of the ominous Wraith territory, an isolated, foreboding citadel within the cosmic realm.